Hey, and welcome to Get to the Roots Extras. My name is Get to the Roots Stef, and this is a Florida, Pinellas County, Radio St. Pete addition to, I guess, how do I describe what this is? This podcast is to get to the root of things because I have a show on Radio St. Pete that plays folk music called Get to the Roots. And the name of the show I did not come up with. Music director Jay Kolb came up with it. And he it was just a great name for a show. And now it has me thinking about what is the root cause of everything in the world. And as I started this podcast to interview people that wanted to come on the radio so I could clip it, but also put a podcast out into the world for a longer form, it really got me thinking about what causes things in the world. So we just had our New Year's Eve show on Radio St. Pete for Get to the Roots, and I played one of Marty Fouts' songs, Performative Governing, and he reached out to me after the show. He said, "Happy New Year, wonderful show today. I really like that Andy Bray song. Good recording." He loved the trumpet. And he also said a big thank you for playing his song, Performative Governing. So, of course, Marty, you are my friend. I'm so lucky to have met you and Bonnie and so many people through the Florida Folk Show. I just love being able to play people's music out on the radio every week. And I really feel like Marty puts a lot of thought into his lyrics. And he's really getting in these protest songs lately. And you just feel the passion and the fire in his words. And I feel like listeners, that's something a lot of listeners really need right now in our current 2020. Well, it was 2025. It's 2026 now. But the current past couple of years of just life just being like, ugh, in the United States with a lot of stuff going on. So, shifting gears, so to speak. Oh, what do you mean shifting gears? Well, it's actually a very bad pun. I got a text with the Pinellas County, which, St. Pete's and Pinellas County in Florida, total traffic crashes. So, I don't know if you've been to St. Petersburg. If you're listening, you probably are in St. Petersburg because I only have a couple listeners out there right now, though I will have millions soon. So we have traffic problems. Listen, my life takes me out on the road a lot with what I do. And I can't say what I do because it's private, but it's not illegal. It's something that I'm on the road and I'm out in public a lot. So I see people do some messed up stuff, man. I mean, I've been hit in my old car. I got hit by someone that didn't have the right of way. I got hit in the back bumper area. It wasn't like a fender bender. It was like a very minor T-bone at like 22 miles per hour because someone wasn't paying attention. I've been on 49th Street, and the 49th Street was completely open with one car coming southbound and almost completely open with one car going northbound. And the car coming southbound, I don't know how they missed the giant car going northbound, but they decided to do a U-turn in the middle of the road. And instead of waiting for that other car to pass or going before them because they had plenty of time, they did a U-turn straight into that car that was going northbound. And instead of stopping like a responsible adult, instead of stopping like the person should have stopped when they hit me a year before, nope, that car it was SUV. It was like a Toyota. It was very shiny, like a champagne or silver color. They hit that sedan, T-boned it right in the side, and they were a bigger car than the sedan, the one that hit them, and they just sped north on 49th Street, like, just drove away. Another fun anecdote, this comes from a dear friend of mine who has been having some health problems lately, Kirk. He told me this story about 12 years ago, right about when I moved to St. Pete. He was on US 19, 34th Street North, just above the incorporated part of St. Petersburg, and wouldn't you know it, he saw two cars crash into each other up there by like 55th Avenue or 58th Avenue North. And people in the one car, they got out, looked at the damage, and ran off in one direction. And the people in the other car looked at the damage and ran off the other direction. Turns out both cars were stolen and they hit each other. My friend was a witness. That was a couple years ago. So I got this text and I wanted to verify where it came from. And it has the Pinellas County total crashes of 2025 as 13,135 crashes. And it's from IONTB, which we'll talk about in a minute. And the post actually came from the Instagram. And it's a great little graphic, very informative. And so IONTB says Pinellas County data from the FLHSMV, which is the Florida Highway Safety Motor Vehicle Department. I know this because I had to mail them something recently. Through December 25th, 2025. So it's up until Christmas. So it's not even everything that happened in 2025 because we had a good week there of people driving like maniacs. And they say in the caption, believe it or not, total crashes are down 8.7% from 2024. The largest decrease was 46% in motorcycle-related fatalities, which that's good. I mean, you always got to look twice for motorcycles, right? The only slight increase was fatalities involving bicyclists. And that's another thing, too. The electric bikes, I see this all the time. People do not stop. They will ride them on the sidewalk. If you're walking on the sidewalk, you better jump out of the way because they will just come up right beside you, almost hit you. They'll yell at you a lot of times, and they'll be moving across the road. They don't adhere to any of the crosswalk signals, the traffic lights. I was on where was I? I think I was 38th Avenue North the other day. I was stopped at the red light, but the light for me hadn't changed yet. And 38th Avenue, it was a weird time. It was 16th Street was just open, like you could just go, but the light was red, so I stopped. But then beside me was coming up on the side there was a motorized bike, and he didn't stop at all. He saw it was clear, and he just went. He just went. Just they don't like a lot of people that ride these don't obey traffic laws, and that's very dangerous. We recently had a very bad crash, 49th Street and 22nd Avenue North, where a woman, and I don't think this one was her fault, but she got killed. A woman was on an electric bike, and a car turned into her and killed her. But that one was a true accident. No, I do not think that anyone was specifically at fault there. I think that was just a misunderstanding or miscommunication of what was going on. I don't think that they determined yet that anyone was being reckless in that situation. However, very sad, very dangerous. All right, well, I've teased you enough about these numbers, so let's hear some numbers. All right, so in this past year up until Christmas, fatalities from all crashes, 86, including that woman, I'm sure, very sad. Injuries from crashes, 7,973. And people, there are people out there that get injured and they just don't go to the hospital. I know when my ex and I got T-boned really badly, we could have gone to the hospital and said we were injured. Like I had a really bad bruise and whiplash, but I was like, oh no, that seems expensive. So that I feel like that will probably just be injuries that people actually get treated. Total fatal crashes, 82. Total injury crashes, 5,668. Total bicycle crashes, 806. Total bicycle fatalities, 14. It does not say if the bicycle fatalities are motorized or if they are regular bicycles. There are a lot of cyclists on our roads, and I've been a cyclist for many years as well, and I don't know how I feel about riding my bike around. I've been on Snell Island before, just riding around, and a car got so close to me that I could have kicked his door easily, his passenger side door, or I could have kicked his mirror off. And eventually I had to stop, but he was just drifting into me. I think he was just a jerk and upset that I was riding a bike on his island, and he had a fancy car and I didn't belong there. Excuse me for wanting to ride my bike around somewhere pretty. Jeez. Where was I? Okay, total motorcycle crashes, 364. Total motorcycle fatalities, 14. Total pedestrian crashes, 451. Total pedestrian fatalities, 26. Okay, here's a big one. Total hit and run crashes, 3,466. Not last year, but 2 years before, when I got just hit minorly and that person didn't stay. That was a hit and run. The one that I witnessed this past year on 49th Street where the car U-turned to the other car, that was a hit and run because everybody left. I mean, the woman that got hit, she just like pulled her car over to the side. But the person that hit her, that was in the wrong, just dipped. Total hit and run fatalities, 5. Total hit and run injuries, 629. So if you look at all of that data, I mean, we have a lot of people in this city. We have a lot of people in this county, but it still seems a bit much. So I wanted to look at how does this compare to the nation? So the National Safety Council puts out car crash deaths and rates, motor vehicle fatality trends for the whole country. And so they say between I forgot how to say 1913 and 2023, the number of motor vehicle deaths in the United States, which includes all types of motor vehicles, including passenger cars, trucks, buses, and motorcycles, increased by 966%. From 4,200 deaths in 1913, which, like not everybody had a car then, the population was much smaller, to 44,762 in 2023. However, the roles in daily life is vastly different than when tracking began. Also, how accurate were the numbers back then? I know this from studying psychology. One of my majors in college was psychology, and something that we touched on was I was in a forensic psychology class. A great professor, he's passed away now, because that was 20 years ago when I was in college. Not every city reports things accurately. And we were looking at this one city, and it was for the police, and they looked like a super dangerous city. And that's because they did their reporting right. And then we looked at these other cities that looked very safe, but they were known to be dangerous. And that's because there's certain times in history where they just weren't reporting things. So, back in earlier times when things were less electronic, when tracking wasn't good, when it was much easier to be corrupt because accountability was easier to skirt around, I wonder what was and wasn't reported. All right, let's go on and see what else it says. Okay, here's the next paragraph from the National Safety Council Injury Facts. In 1913, there were about 1.3 motor vehicles and 2 million drivers. The number of miles driven was not yet estimated. Okay, in 2023, there were 284.6 million vehicles. So that is 283 million more vehicles than there were in 1913. And there are 238 million licensed drivers and over 3,247 billion miles driven annually. Wow, I wonder where our country has a dependency on oil. Imagine that. All right. So the death rates go up and down. If we look at the chart, we see a spike in the 60s and 70s, and it kind of goes down. We go to the 80s and 90s, and then the spike comes back up in the early 2020s. The population motor vehicle death rate reached its peak in 1937 with 30.8 deaths per 100,000 population. The current rate is 13.4%, or 13.4 per 100,000, representing a 56% improvement. And I'm sure they mean a 56% decrease in deaths, not improving the number of deaths by making it go up. So just some interesting things to think about. It is not safe. I don't care what anyone says. It is not safe to drive around St. Pete. I have seen so many crashes and so much just blatant disregard for traffic signals. Let's see. I have another story. So when I was, where was I? I was on 38th Avenue and 58th Street. Just, I'm over there by the Walgreens, and I'm at the light on 58th Street, ready to make my left on the 38th and head back towards 49th Street, going east away from the beaches. And the light turned with the green arrow, and I just kind of waited. I don't know if I saw something out of the corner of my eye, but I just didn't go yet. There wasn't really anyone behind me. There wasn't that much traffic. And then I see from my left a car just gunning it down 38th Avenue. And the light for them had been red for a significant amount of time. In fact, someone had gone through the light on my side before this car came through. And they didn't stop at all. They had a straight up red light, and they were going maybe 100 miles per hour. This was not a police officer. This was just a regular black SUV, just vroom, super fast through the light, as if they were trying to get in an accident. And I was like, I've seen this before. I've been on 9th Avenue and 28th Street, and I've seen the same thing. The light for them had been red for at least a few seconds. And they had plenty of time to stop. But what they do, they just speed up instead. And they went through. That one was a near-miss accident. The person on 28th Street had to slam on their brakes. I was shook when I saw that. I was like, oh my. But I wasn't as close as I was. If I had gone to make that left and I had been slow when I was on 58th Street turning onto 38th, I would have been hit and I would have been street pizza. So I don't know why I stopped then. I have no idea. I've been at crosswalks in St. Pete, and a bus has stopped because I hit the little lights. I had to go, and traffic stopped. And then I've had someone whip out around the bus, even though the lights were flashing for the crosswalk. I just jumped back instinctively. I didn't even see the car whip around back in front of the bus. And that was like a near-death experience for me, just trying to cross the street. So now I don't hit those crosswalk lights until it's like clear, and they'll like hit the lights, I'll just kind of go. Or if there's like a big vehicle or a bus, I just kind of just don't cross in front of them. I just didn't know. I didn't think that someone would just whip around if they saw the flashing crosswalk lights like that. That was ridiculous. So it's dangerous. It's a dangerous city. We don't have red light cameras here, which people are so happy about. They do have red light cameras up in Tampa, which is the closest metropolitan area to St. Petersburg. I don't know about Orlando. I feel like Orlando does. I feel like Sarasota does. I lived down there for a while. I don't remember. But so people fight against these cameras because they don't want to pay tickets, because they want to run red lights. I see it all the time. How is this a good thing? I mean, it would generate revenue for the city. It would make people be safer. It would make the unsafe people pay. And if you make a mistake, I mean, okay, so it happens. Sometimes you accidentally go through a red light. Hopefully you're not going a million miles per hour and the red hasn't been there for a while. It's like yellow turning to red. I get that. People don't want to get a ticket in the mail from a camera by a little mistake when their timing was just off slightly and everything was fine. They were going a slow or reasonable amount of speed. However, for these people that just gun it and go through reds like they don't care, have no care in the world, yeah, I kind of want those people ticketed. I don't want them to kill anyone. We also have street racing in St. Pete. That's fun. I personally was associated, not a friend of mine, just someone that I knew, acquaintance, as a street racer. I had no idea he was a street racer. He killed someone. And it took like a year and a half for him to get arrested. And I was like, oh my God, that was like a really nice guy. I can't believe he was street racing and killed someone and didn't just turn himself in and be like, I'm sorry, this was a mistake. Please give me a plea deal. No, he just went about his life normally. While someone out there had died because they dared to cross the street while someone was street racing. They probably had no idea it was at night. Ugh, disgusting. So that's my 2 cents on the terrible state of people driving like idiots over here in the Pinellas County area and probably so many other parts of the country. And now we're going to shift to talking about IONTB, or IONTB. Oh, get to the root, Stef. What is IONTB? Well, I didn't know either. Other person who's talking, that's clearly not me. So basically, back in 2015, someone sent me a post from IONTB, or IONTB, and I was like, oh, this is like a news thing. That's great. Oh, and I was like, oh, wow. Because I'm a writer. Like, I went to school for writing English literature, but I also did creative writing, and I've done a lot of writing work since, a lot of unpaid writing work, a lot of volunteer writing work. I've written copy for people. I've coached people on writing copy. I've continued my studies after graduating school. I've been published out there. So I've got some chops. I got a whole website of like sad stories that nobody reads and nobody should read, but they're written very well. So I find this website. I'm like, oh, IONTB. That's cool. I want to do that. But it's one person. It's a one-man show. His name is Steven Hirschfeld. He's a pharmacist. And here's what it says on the website. Many years ago, in March 2013, 13 years ago, the idea of starting this website was born. It was just another Sunday afternoon when I came upon a large building fire that destroyed a candle warehouse in Dunedin. I began to photograph and record the video of the fire, and later that day posted on my personal YouTube account. The posting generated media interest along with the first responders who worked the incident that day. The name, IONTB, Ion Tampa Bay. Oh, I thought it was IONTB. Whoops. Look at me not telling you the name of things. It's Ion Tampa Bay. Wow. I'm learning. Was created and a logo was designed. Originally, it was going to be a small site to document a small number of incidents, highlighting the tireless work being done by our first responders in the Tampa Bay area. Photos free of watermarks have always been supplied free of charge to our local first responders and our public safety agencies in the area. That's nice. It was hopeful that occasionally video and/or photos could be sold to social media outlets in the area. On Tampa Bay continues to grow rapidly now, with over 103,300 Facebook followers. IONTB designed its website and moved to a new hosting company in 2022. So on Facebook, they have a monthly reach of 725,000, with post engagements nearing 2 million per month. And each post averages approximately 40,000 average impressions. Ooh, he's so fancy! IONTB has over 8,100 followers on Twitter and started growing its presence on Instagram to nearly 6,000. So that IONTB, I keep saying I in the Berg. I'm sorry. I thought that's what it was. That's what it was told to me in 2015. But anyway, they have 2,100 subscribers on YouTube. That is who posted the fatality information for us on Instagram, so we can know, like, hey, it's not just us. Even though motorcycle deaths are down, it is not safe to drive in this city a lot of times. I'm sure it's like comparable to other cities, but still, I would like to drive somewhere where it feels safe. I'd like to drive somewhere where people don't just look at a red light and go, you know what? I'm gonna gun it. Or I'm just gonna ignore that. Pisses me off, man. Anyway, this site is not a huge operation, but run by a staff of one with occasional help from a few vloggers in the area. It is not unusual to receive a large amount of messages daily. Blah, blah, blah. They are in the process of bringing freelance writers and contributors on the website. I'm not going to get the job now because I can't even speak and I'm stumbling through reading their information, but still. It is a valuable asset to the community. It's very straightforward. The website is simple. It's easy to pop up, like bring it up on your phone. And they're very selective. They basically pick things to discuss. There's no human interest. It's like, this person's in jail. This is why. Here's their mugshot. Here's where they live or lived. Or this person did this. Here's a house fire. Here's something else. It's a very straightforward website. I think that's why so many people like it. They've got a little bit of weather, but so if you look at the front page right now, attempted murder charges filed. Oh, the St. Petersburg fire crew responded to a 4-alarm structure fire. That was near my house, actually, the 4-alarm fire. I was home that day and I kept hearing sirens, and so I looked it up. We have 2 really cool web pages also in St. Pete. You have the Pinellas County Sheriff active calls page, where they'll tell you kind of what's going on, and the 911 active calls page. And that will tell you what's going on. So I went to the 911 because I was like, I keep hearing sirens. I was like, oh, there's a big fire really close to my house. Jeez. People lost power in the area. It was awful. Let's click on this. Let's see here. So look at this. So we've got our little article by Stephen Hirschfeld. Stephen, if I'm saying your name wrong, I'm so sorry. I like your webpage. It always tells me what's going on. Okay. Did anyone die? Doesn't look like it. That's good. Hooray. Yeah, and so this is the type of... Okay, so listen to this article. This is the length of this article. St. Petersburg. Fire crews responded to a structure fire shortly before 3 p.m. The address, I'm not going to say it since I told you guys it's near my house. It's not super near. Multiple fire units on the scene were actively engaged in suppression operations. This incident is ongoing. Motorists are urged to avoid the area. No additional details regarding injuries have been damage have been released at this time. Crews from St. Petersburg Fire and Rescue were assisted by crews from Leelman, Sunstar Paramedics, Pinellas Park, Largo, and St. Petersburg Fire Rescue. Further information will be provided as it becomes available. End of article. Let's see here. Here's another one. Here's a pedestrian died. This pedestrian died in Pinellas Park on 66th Street North. Again, 1 small paragraph, 2 small paragraphs, 3 small paragraphs, 2 pictures, 4, a sentence, another sentence paragraph. Just it's basically 8 sentences, but that's all you need to know what's going on. Very straightforward. I really enjoy this website, and I like that they're keeping people in the area informed. And I don't know if they're actually getting to the roots of what's going on in St. Petersburg, but they are providing the information that can help us get to the root of all of these stupid traffic incidents. I don't know. I have a lot of anecdotal stories about seeing people drive poorly, experiencing it, getting T-boned. I don't see police officers pulling people over very often. I see speed traps. I see traffic stops. We have our wolf pack, which apparently the wolf pack, there's an app where you could know if the wolf pack is out. So I guess you could know where to not drive drunk. No one should drive drunk. Jeez, whoever made that app, like, it's nice to know where they are, but if you're using that to drive drunk, just don't drive drunk. Shoot. Like, I'm going to go out to an event tonight where there's going to be alcohol. I'm going to let someone drive me. I'm taking an Uber. And if there wasn't Uber, I'd take a taxi. I love taxis. I miss taxis. Taxis were like a big part of my coming of age adulthood. Like, taxis. I was like, oh, I'm such a grown up. I'm doing taxis now. And now there's Uber, and I'm like, oh, but it's just the same thing. Just do that. But it is nice that they have the wolf pack to like stop drunk drivers. But I mean, let's talk about other things I've seen in this city. Shoot, since I'm telling you all the gossip and tea today, I was at a pawn shop because, you know, I'm a real one. And I'm in the parking lot. I'm about to leave, and I see a man with a Corona, and he's pouring it into a styrofoam cup, and then he just chucks the bottle into the parking lot, and he just drives away. It's a broken glass in the parking lot. Thanks a lot, jerk. He just drives away with his styrofoam cup with the Corona. You know, Corona, like, not a highly alcoholic beer. I understand that. At the same time, like, what number beer was he on for the day? Was that just after the several shots? Was there liquor in there? Like, what was that? Oh, since we're just dumping all the gossip now anyway, I've been in Gainesville before, and a family member of mine, and I was, God, 18 or 19, and she would bring a big gulp cup, and she would just put liquor in it, and she was driving me around, and I was a young adult, and she was a family member that I really looked up to, and I was like, oh, I guess this is just how you do it. She was a big partier. She's much older than me. She's my mom's related to my mom. I can't say who this is because this is tied to my real name. But yeah, I don't think she does that anymore because she's like even older now. We're all even older now. But I was just like, oh, so in Florida, you just drive around with an open container. Like, it's not safe, people. Like, it's a big, giant freaking automobile that can kill someone. And I see a family member of mine just being an alcoholic. That's everywhere. I don't want to live in a fascist police state. I want people not to drive drunk. Like, that's all I want. Like, I don't know how to fix this. How do you fix this? You have to fix people, make people feel loved and appreciated. And you can't ban alcohol because people need to unwind. I don't know. I don't know what the root of this is. I know the root of this is stress and people not feeling loved and people thinking that they're good at driving when they're intoxicated. I mean, my family member did not kill us that day or anyone else, which was good. I don't think she's done that at all, which is good. But, I mean, say you're out there on the road, you're driving sober. I mean, there's such a high chance that someone is going to hit you because they are intoxicated or they just suck at driving. There's people out there that just drive texting or they'll reach into the back seat while they're operating a car and just like hit someone or drive into a ditch and flip over because they just don't know that they're driving. Like, their brain just forgets to let them know that they're driving. It's terrible. It's irresponsible. So no, I don't want to live in a fascist state. I'm not calling for stricter rules or regulations. I just feel like there's got to be an answer out there that's going to make it not suck so bad to drive on these roads and to make it safer out there. Maybe we just need a global consciousness change or a national consciousness change. Maybe people don't need to feel like they're better than everybody else and like they can just deserve to drive and put other people at risk. Maybe some of these people need to be knocked down a peg or two, like morally. I don't know. Or maybe they need to learn to care about others, not be so stuck up their own butts. I'm not sure. Anyway, IONTB, which is not Eye on the Berg, it's Eye on Tampa Bay, run a one-man show. Super awesome website. Love it. I love that they release this information, make it so accessible to people. It is the fastest place that I have found to find real news, real time, that affects our daily lives. And we see what our neighbors are up to and who's getting arrested for what. Thank you so much for tuning in today to Get to the Roots Extras. I hope I didn't make you sad. We're going to have some great things coming up this year. We have an interview with Lisa Lytle coming up soon. And she is a singer-songwriter out of Orlando who I know through my songwriting buddy, Jerome. And so we're going to talk about her new release, her YouTube channel, everything that she's been getting into. She recorded, I believe, her song in her closet because the acoustics were so good, at least parts of it. Hell yeah for Ingenuity, one of our Florida sister cities over here. We're going to talk about other things like more viral videos, like the viral cat TikTok that scarred me for life. We'll talk about more things. We'll talk about how to get to roots of like what is popular out there, what is something that people care about or that people tune into. We're going to get to the root of bad behavior, I guess, with this people driving drunk all in the world. Ugh, stop it. Stop it. And we're just going to keep going with the podcast. I hope that you liked it. And I hope that you feel something and that you care. And if you have any stories of people driving poorly, like just leave them in the comments, please. Like, I know we've all got so many. There's people that don't put the shopping cart back at the supermarket. And then there's people that just drive around drunk, and they're both bad people. But this second one, driving around drunk or intoxicated, is worse. I hate it. And it's just blatantly disregarding traffic laws, even when you're completely sober. Don't like that either. It doesn't matter if you're on a bicycle, a pedestrian, or in a car, in a bus, or anything. Like, we all are supposed to follow the same rules so we can be orderly and neat and chill. And there's definitely some leeway there for mistakes, because everyone can make a mistake every now and then. But there's some things where it's like, oh, crap, big mistakes. Like, maybe you need a whole shift and see what the root of, like, what is going on in your brain for reals. Yes. Let me get off my high horse now and sneeze a bunch because I'm allergic to horses. And you all have a great rest of your day.